Now let's get into my third video for Inktober today, and today's video consists of 4 prompts, which is Day 6 Pierce, Day 7 Starfish, Day 8 Reckless, and Day 9 Heavy. Now these prompts are all combined into one illustration. Now, Day 6 Pierce led me down the road to a case about William Pierce. He was an American serial killer that was active between 1970 and 1971 who killed at least 9 women across 3 states. In June of 1970, he broke into a home where a babysitter was looking after the homeowner's children in North Augusta, South Carolina. She was 18-year-old Ann Goodwin, and she was sexually assaulted and shot by William, and he then stole valuables from that home. On the 18th of December 1970, 13-year-old Margaret Coutinho left her home to go and have lunch with her sister at school when she never returned home. Margaret's parents contacted police, but Margaret's body wasn't found until the 30th of December, roughly 20 kilometers away from her home, beaten and suffocated to death. 2 days after Margaret disappeared, William went to a servo and killed employee 59-year-old Joe Fletcher in Vidalia, Georgia, where he stole $78 in cash. Then, in January of 1971, he went to a store and shot 51-year-old Lacey Tigpen after she witnessed him robbing the very store she was the administrator at. Then, in the same month, he sexually assaulted and shot 32-year-old Helen Wilcox. Then, he took her to Woodlands and buried her in a shallow grave. Then his final crime was robbing a store in Baxley, where he killed 60-year-old store owner Vivian Miles and beat her 5-year-old granddaughter, who thankfully did survive. Once he was caught, he did confess to 3 other murders. He ended up getting life in prison and died there at the age of 88 in 2020. Now, Day 7 Starfish. This prompt led me down the path to a case from the Scorecard Killer. Now, Randy Kraft was an American serial killer known for killing roughly 16 young men between 1972 to 1983. He was called the Scorecard Killer because when he was arrested, investigators found a coded list of 61 entries like a scorecard of all his victims. He was also named the Freeway Killer because many of his victims' bodies were found on the side or near freeways. It is believed that he has killed around 67 young men, and only men, with their bodies all containing high levels of alcohol and tranquilizers in their systems, so they probably never knew what really happened to them. Victims were strangled, asphyxiated, or bludgeoned to death. Also, they had car cigarette lighter burns on their bodies and foreign objects found in their anuses. So, the starfish reference comes from when 3 young boys were hunting for starfish in May of 1975 on the Long Beach Marina when they discovered a severed head of 19-year-old Keith Davin Crotwell. Now, Randy Kraft is apparently still alive in prison and is now 80 years old. Now, Day 8 Reckless led me down the path to a case that was labelled Reckless. Now, this is the case of Aileen Wuornos. She was an American serial killer active between 1989 and 1990 that was a prostitute along highways in Florida. She robbed and shot dead 7 of her male clients and claimed that it was all in self-defense, but this woman is clearly crazy when you look at her interviews. Apparently, from a young child, Aileen always had behavioural problems and was aggressive with a quick explosive temper, which stopped her from making a lot of friends and hard for her to maintain relationships of any kind. She also apparently suffered physical and sexual abuse growing up from her grandfather. One of her victims, Richard Mallory, was apparently a convicted rapist, and he did this to Aileen, so she claimed that she killed him in self-defense. The other victims were mainly found in bushland, either naked or partially naked, and she had possession of each victim's vehicles. It appeared that Aileen was doing this for financial gain and to take revenge on men. When she was finally caught, she was tried and given the death penalty via lethal injection on the 9th of October 2002. She was the second woman to die like this in Florida and the 10th in the whole country. She was labelled reckless because of the nature of how she gained access to men, luring them in with sex and then killing them. It was extremely risky for a female to do this. Now, the last prompt in this video today is day 9 heavy, and what I thought about with this particular prompt was basically relating heavy to the heavy hearts of all the people that are involved in these cases. Now, victims are missed by loved ones, and some of the murderers do regret what they have done and have remorse with a heavy heart, and it also takes a toll on first responders and what they have to witness as well. It all takes a toll on everyone involved and creates heavy hearts full of sadness and other emotions that linger with them for years. Now, the illustration that I did for this one today was obviously, like I said at the beginning of the video, combining these 4 prompts into an illustration. And for this one, I sort of felt very sort of Nordic, so I just sort of kept it in that sort of genre. So there's like this like golem creature, and it's on a beach and it's trying to limp away. It's been pierced through it with a spear, and also it has a head in its hands, sort of tying it in with the case of the Starfish, with what Randy Kraft had done to some of those victims, and those boys ended up finding one of the heads of one of his victims. And then I put Starfish all over this creature in the illustration, and also with the reckless nature. Obviously what this thing has done is just like limping along with a head in its hand, and it's been pierced, and it's dragging in this anchor which represents heavy, because this would be heavy. It's tied to its ankle, and obviously it's representing the heaviness that maybe this monster does feel a bit like. It's got a lot of burden now of what it's done, and that's portrayed with that. And yeah, that's how I tied all these prompts in together. And obviously I added some elements of the cases in there, and yeah, there's also some gunshot wounds on this creature as well, you know, just to represent the first case, which is William Pierce, who was shooting people. I decided to add that on the monster as well. I just added a couple of colors on this one. Just wanted the starfish to pop, and obviously the blood to pop as well, and that's really all I left it at with that. So yeah, there's a couple of focal points on there, and trying to just sort of simplify this one, because I found that the last 2 illustrations I started off Inktober with, they sort of didn't appeal to me, so I sort of just wanted to rehash a little bit and do things just a little bit differently in this one, and that's what I did, sort of trying to keep it simple. Now, spoiler alert, the next illustration that I do for the next prompts, I actually really like that particular illustration, so hopefully you stick around to see the next video's illustration, because I was actually for some reason just pretty proud of that, and how I even mixed some of the colors up and put on that. It's a very disturbing piece, but it's my favorite so far, so yeah, stick around and have a look at that one. But anyway, that is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, dislike it. I couldn't give 2 shits what you do, and hopefully I see you guys in the next one. Bye.